Developing a list of companies. A surprisingly important part of company research involves creating lists of companies based on certain criteria. Why? Well, sometimes you want to know which companies are competitors to you in a given industry or a certain geographic area. If your company is selling anything business to business, this is a primary way to find possible business customers. If you're selling business to consumer, you still need this technique to find things like possible retail outlets for your product, or possible partners, such as companies that can provide cold transport for your frozen foods, for example. Any company that needs to source material from partners can use this method. If you want to work in a certain industry, this will help you find all companies in that industry. Yes, you can quickly find some of these companies just via a Google search, but that requires them to have good, findable websites, and not all businesses have that. In order to do this type of research, you usually need the industry codes, SIC and NAICS codes, to know which companies are classified as part of a certain industry. If you've never heard of SIC or NAICS codes, watch this Finding Industry Codes video for more information first. Andersen Library has one major database that allows you to create a list of U.S. companies with certain criteria, Reference Solutions. It is pretty good for both large, multi-location chain store businesses and smaller, local, privately owned companies. In Reference Solutions, click on the U.S. Businesses module, then click on the Advanced Search tab to build a company list. The basic structure of this page is to first choose relevant criteria from the options on the left, then in the middle set my relevant limits on that criteria, and finally to view the results on the right. First, select keyword SIC, NAICS to select companies in a specific industry. You can switch between SIC and NAICS, or select primary codes only if you would like, which means the code must be the main business activity of that company. Either enter a search term, like grocery, to manually look for a code, or enter the code number itself in the box if you know it. If you are not finding the code you expect, like I would expect to find retail grocery stores here, not just grocery wholesalers, go to the SIC or NAICS website and do a lookup there first to get the actual code number, and type that. I did that and found that the real NAICS code is 445110 for grocery stores. Sometimes Reference Solutions renames its codes, which is a not always helpful part of their attempt to make the codes more specific. You'll notice that their codes are extended to 8 digits now instead of 6 for the same reason. I want everything that might be a type of grocery store, so I'll click and select all of these codes for now. Click Update Count on the right to see how many businesses now match the criteria we used. We started with 16 million companies nationwide, now there are still 114,000 matching those NAICS codes. That's a lot, so let's also limit by geography in this case. I can limit by certain states, cities, metro areas, counties, or even zip codes or neighborhoods. In this case, let's try a radius search, Whitewater zip code, and a 75-mile radius around that. Now when I click on Update Count, we see about 1,800 businesses match our search requirements. If that is still too many results to be useful here, try more filters. Often people want to limit by company size. There are 2 indicators for that under business size. Maybe number of employees is a good way to eliminate the really small mom-and-pop bodegas that wouldn't have the shelf space to stock my new product, perhaps. Keep in mind, however, that private companies are not required to disclose their number of employees or sales volume, so for private companies, those numbers are a big estimate. Click View Results to see the list of companies that match the search criteria. Clicking the column title will modify how the data is sorted. Sometimes it's useful to click on Corporate Tree to see the parent companies of a particular outlet. Click the name of the company to view that particular company's individual profile. You can save the search to come back to it later, or use the heat map and chart options to get some visualizations of your data. To download the data, note that you can only download 250 records at a time, so it's better to do smaller, more specific searches than I have here. You'll want to check the checkboxes of the records you're interested in, then click on the Download or Print button. Select Custom to change what information is included in your download. Select from the list of elements here on the left to put them on the right side so that they will appear in your final report. Finally, a note on citation. Sometimes there is an auto-generated citation somewhere in this page of results, Or many students go to an auto-generated citation tool like Citation Machine, but those are universally terrible citations. If I see this on your references list, this tells me absolutely nothing about what data you actually retrieved from here. Instead, here's a better example. Use this one as a model to create your citation. There's not really a useful title anywhere for these data results pages. Every page just says Reference Solutions at the top, which doesn't tell me much, so it's best to simply describe what variables we used in square brackets and non-italics so that somebody else could come into this database and retrieve the same data you did. Notice also that in this case, you do want to include a retrieval date because there's no publication date and the data would be constantly changing anyway. Please contact the library with any questions. We're happy to help.